Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Pete on Retreat. I'm finally getting another update, so let's just get into it. So I'm currently in the beautiful country of Laos, but this video is not going to be about Laos at all. Last week was incredibly busy. I was trying my best to, okay, maybe I wasn't really trying my best, but I had all the intentions to put out a little update video before I left Thailand. Unfortunately, it just never happened. So here I am in Laos, and I'm going to talk about Thailand for a bit. So as many of you know, I caught a bit of a cold in Thailand, a little bit of a sinus infection right after I moved into the Pratumnak Inn. The Pratumnak Inn, by the way, very cool place, highly recommend. The people running it are lovely. I've got a video I'll put out showing my room and showing the grounds there, talking about that place. I've got so many videos lined up in the works that I'm barely scratching the surface on right now. I've really got some work ahead of me, so stay tuned and you'll be seeing stuff coming out. About a day or two after I moved into the inn, I got sick, and that kind of put me behind a little bit. I was sick for a few days, and then after being sick, I kind of threw out my back. Everybody that knows me in my real life knows I've had ongoing back issues for about 10 years now, probably longer than 10 years. I forget how quick time goes. While I was sick, unfortunately, I was neglecting my back exercises I'm supposed to be doing every day, and I was laying around more often than I should. My back really doesn't like not being active. I developed a bit of a cough, and all these things lined up. So that one morning before I had stretched, I got up, and one really solid cough caused my back to spasm. When my back goes out, I get these lower spasms in it, and they're usually debilitating for a few days. Luckily, I've got some good friends in Thailand already, and I put the word out, and they came to my aid, bringing me food and bringing me meds. Because of this, on the second day, I was already feeling pretty good and mobile, and by the third day, I was out and about again. It was after throwing my back out that I realized, since my travel plans had changed and I was only going to go away for 2 weeks instead of 2 months, I could go ahead and look for a more permanent residence. Once my back was better, I contacted a couple of agents and started looking at places. I wanted to find a place within about 48 hours, maybe 72 at the max, to give me a couple days to move in before I flew out here to Laos. I looked at a total of 11 places in person and several places online. This brings me to the announcement that I've been teasing everybody with for a bit. I have a home in Pratumnak, in my favorite neighborhood so far in Pattaya area, and I'm just so happy about it. I found a condo that checked nearly all my boxes. It's a little smaller than I was hoping to get, but that should help keep the electricity bill down. And it doesn't have a washing machine, but it's in Pratumnak. It's near Cozy Beach. It's down the street from where I first stayed when I came to Thailand. And it's basically across the street from my favorite laundromat here, so I don't really need the washing machine. And I signed a 1-year lease. I got moved in on Saturday, and then the following day I flew out here to Laos. So I do have a new home, but I've only slept there 1 day so far. and I'm already homesick. I think living in Cozy Beach, Pratumnak is going to be good for my health, both my mental health and my physical health. The condo has a gym and a pool, and yes, I'll do a condo tour. It's got a market right next door. It's a short walk to Pratumnak Hill and to Big Buddha Hill. It's got an amazing view of the Gulf of Thailand. Oh, and speaking of Pratumnak Hill, here's a bunch of shots that I didn't put in my last video where I actually went to the hill. Last week was uncommonly busy for me. Besides meeting with agents and looking at properties and then signing a lease and moving in, I also ran a session for my D&D group. I had been wanting to run a session for them, so I made it a goal to run one before I went country hopping, even though I'm not country hopping anymore. And with Darren finishing up the campaign that he ran for us, and us having a player being out in Cambodia, it was the perfect opportunity for me to step in for 1 week. I ran a session that I wrote back in September that I ran for a couple groups of friends back home in October before moving out to Thailand. I'll keep it brief, but it's basically a bank vault heist in a magical bank that's made up of an infinite number of interconnected pocket dimensions. The group said they all had a great time. I've ran this session in 3.5 to 4.5 hours before, but we were being kind of casual about it and just hanging out and relaxing, and we played for, I believe, over 6 hours, but that's including a little dinner break. It was really great to be behind the DM screen again.
Dexterity check.
Yep.
Natural 1. So 4.
Your acid singed feathers from the gelatinous cube room, the rope just doesn't find its mark and whoo! I also wanted to see a couple friends before I left town. After all this time planning for country hopping, that was still kind of my mind. So I'm only gone for 2 weeks, but there were some friends that I hadn't seen in several weeks anyway because of my previous move and because of getting sick and then throwing my back out. So I went into the city and hung out one evening with my friend Qatar. She's a total sweetheart. She offered her truck for me to move. I've always had very close girlfriends in my life, and any opportunity I have to make good friends with women in Thailand, I'm going to embrace. I also have a friend that works in a bar near Cozy Beach, and I hadn't seen her in about a month. She grew up in Australia, and her English is amazing, and I just love hanging out and talking with her. Then I also spent some time hanging out with the boys, going out to eat and going for some walks. I invited Darren out to the local bar in Pratumnak. And even though my friend wasn't there that night, Darren and I went and we had a great time. I had to go back a few nights later to actually see my friend and hang out with her for a bit. And then I also had to get all my paperwork together to make sure that I could apply for my tourist visa for Thailand while I'm here in Vientiane City in Laos. That required a bit of research, me getting some passport photos taken, me printing out a bunch of documents and printing out my application. I also had to look into the details as far as traveling around Laos, how I got to my hotel, what I could take on the plane, and all that kind of stuff. So last week was my busiest week since I've retired. Okay, not since I've retired, but my busiest week since I've arrived in Thailand. And maybe it was my busiest week since I've retired. Now, this next topic may not be very easy for me to talk about, and it's definitely the worst thing that's happened to me so far since moving abroad. The first night I arrived here in Vientiane, I took a walk around town a bit and kind of got my bearings, went back to my hotel, and then I went out for dinner. After just walking a couple blocks, I unfortunately witnessed a really bad accident on the main road. A large Toyota pickup truck hit a young woman on a motorbike awfully hard. A bunch of people stopped and ran to her aid, and as soon as I began processing the gravity of the situation and seeing her in the street not moving, I just went into total shock. I was emotionally floored. There was nothing I could do about it. I don't know about the laws or anything here, but I know in Thailand they tell foreigners or Westerners not to help when it comes to accidents at all because you could get into legal trouble and be responsible and weird things like that. All I could do was stand there and watch everyone react around me. Now logically, I'm well aware that people die in motor accidents and road accidents every day in every country of the world pretty much. Thailand is a very safe country, except when it comes to driving on the roads. So I know this is just a part of life, at least in Thailand. And as you heard with the paramedic sirens behind me now, and the amount of ambulance sirens that I hear just walking around the city, it probably is a very big part of life here as well. I'll never know what happened to her. I hope she's okay. It's very possible that she was just unconscious. She was wearing a helmet. This whole thing shouldn't be about me at all, and it was just really unfortunate timing for me. It was the first day I was here in a new country, and I just wanted to hug somebody or talk to somebody. Yeah, I'm a Cancer, and that means I'm a sensitive guy. Go ahead and call me a wuss or whatever, I don't care. I was raised with empathy, and it's hard for me to see people hurt. After about just a minute of standing around, I realized I just had to keep going. I needed to eat, so I continued walking towards the night market. I got to the night market, had a beer, and then just reached out to my friends and family on Facebook for a little bit of support. I'm fortunate that my social media is filled with honest, genuine, caring people, and I'm thankful for each and every one of you. I had a couple beers and some tasty food, made my way back to the hotel, and just tried to shake it off. Yesterday was a lot better. I started working on new routines here, but we'll talk all about that in my next live video. In the end, I'm perfectly okay, and emotionally stressed or whatever, like, I'm better. So don't worry about anything like that. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to talk about it, but it's part of my life, and that's really what this channel is about. My life, my experiences, staying connected with friends and family, and unexpectedly bonding with viewers that, you know, a bunch of strangers that have just been engaging with me through our comment section here on this channel. I'm really happy for each and every one of you guys too. So that's basically my busy last week in Thailand before my trip here to Laos. Vientiane City's pretty cool. I've got videos that'll be coming out about here, or at least one. And then I'm off to Luang Prabang. I know I just said that wrong, I'm sorry. And there's other videos in the works. I don't know when they're going to come out or in what order, so just stay tuned, guys. I've got content coming. Hello. Coming from the capital city here in Laos, this is Pete on retreat. Like always, thank you all for watching, and I wish you were here.